Yeah, I know. What's really cool is I can share all the things that I've learned, like as I update things and change things on my own website. So I love that I can share that experience here. Well. Guess whose website just got a makeover? Yeah, that's me. And have all my notes and all the things that I want to share with you. But I really wanted to talk today about how to hone in on the 4 most important components of your website's podcast page. So let's get right to it. Hey y'all, Crystal here today, and if you are brand new to me, hi and welcome to this channel. I teach entrepreneurs all about how to start, launch, and market their podcast. So I wanted to throw that out there. Like, I'm not a web designer. I don't do any of those things at like the level of other people paying me to do them, but I have built enough web pages and websites, and I've been doing this podcast thing for quite a while now. And I know the 4 most important pieces that you need to have on your website's podcast page. So I don't want to waste any time. We have a lot to cover. Let's jump right in. I know, I'm just looking at my notes here. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you have on your podcast webpage is your artwork. You want to make sure that people know, is this the right page? Did I land on the right site? Is this the right person? Maybe you could also have a picture of yourself in your studio or any other fun things like that. But you've got to have your artwork, whether it's embedded on a player somewhere or you have it as a background picture. It doesn't matter. It needs to be on your podcast page somewhere. So if you want to check out this video right here, a little bit more about your podcast artwork and all the things, go watch that video if this is an area that you need help. But we're going to jump right into the second thing that you need to have on your website is your podcast player. So I have been a longtime user of BUZZSPROUT. I have used them since day one, and they are my podcast hosting provider. You can actually try them out for 90 days for free by going to crystalproffitt.com/buzzsprout. You'll see a link here and in the video description below. But one of the things that I love about them is they give you options for having a player that looks really good that you can embed on your website. I actually embed this into every single episode that I put on my website. There's like a single player embed. But I want to talk about the multi-episode player because this is what you would want to put on your podcast webpage, right? Like maybe you have the artwork at the top, a little bit of about what your podcast is, maybe who you serve. And then underneath there, you could put your podcast player. You can actually watch this video right here about having a podcast website and go to this particular timestamp and it will show you how to embed a BUZZSPROUT player into your website. This is really important because you don't want to do the single episode player where it's just going to be one episode. I like to have every single one of my episodes. So if someone just happens to come across my website, they go to my podcast page, they can listen to every single episode of my podcast directly on the page. Yeah, this is a really big deal. You can see right here that most of my podcast listens happen from one single podcast player. But then a lot of my episodes, okay, I have a lot at this point. I have more than 240, okay? They have been listened to by using a BUZZSPROUT embed player. So I know what I'm talking about here. Like this is a big deal. You want to make sure that you give people the option to listen directly on your website. So I want you to tell me in the comments below, do you already have a website specifically for your podcast? Are you creating one? Are you just in the beginning stages? Are you using BUZZSPROUT's free website that comes with all of their paid accounts? Because this is a really cool opportunity. If you go watch the video that we talked about with creating a podcast website, you can see just how easy it is. But I want you to tell me in the comments below if you currently have a podcast website or you're working on it. So tell me in the podcast or tell me in the comments below, yes, podcast website, no, working on it. Okay, let's get back to the video. The third really important piece of what you need to have on your podcast page on your website is an engagement tool. Now, this could look really different for everybody. I mean, I could tell you ways that I do it on my website and how I use it, but I just want to let you know, like, there's no right or wrong way to do this, but you do need to have an opportunity for your people to engage with you, right? Because this is how you're gonna know and understand what your listeners really want. So I have a few ideas that I wrote down. So you could have lead generation tools, whether that is you trying to book a discovery call or you're trying to just, have interactions with your audience by leaving a comment. That's one way. Another is email marketing. I love a good email marketing strategy. If you actually want to know more about building an email list of the podcast, watch this video right here. It will be super helpful in teaching you the basics of how you use email marketing with your show. But the other thing that you could do for improving your engagement on your podcast webpage is to have your social media links, but also very specific calls to action. Now, I know a lot of people will just throw up, like, here are all of my links, like, connect with me, follow me in all the places, but I think it works better if you have a very strategic place to send them. So maybe you can put all your links up there, but then put on there, hey, send me a DM on Instagram and let's connect that way. Tell me your favorite episode on Twitter. Let me know what you're thinking about the show on LinkedIn, or join our free Facebook group. And when you introduce yourself, tell us the one thing that you want to learn in this community. I think it's really important to have opportunities for people to engage with you because people want to chat. That's what this is all about, right? I hope that you're building a podcast community and you're not just planning to speak behind the microphone and talk out into the void. I hope that you're putting parameters in place to really connect with your audience. And I think that you can absolutely do that on your podcast webpage. And then the fourth thing that I think is really important for you to have on your podcast webpage is testimonials and reviews. Oh my gosh, if you've been around here for a while, you know that I'm a marketing nut and I love to have really awesome stories and testimonials and screenshots and all the things that I can share from my community. So I want you to go check out this video right here. It's all about Chartable. And I tell you how I not only use Chartable to show where my podcast has landed on the charts, but I think it's a really cool way that you can take testimonials and reviews from the different podcast players and actually take a screenshot and put them up on your website. Now, for my website, I'm going to show you a little bit about how I've done it. I've actually just taken some of the reviews that I found in Apple Podcast and I copied and pasted them into a testimonial kind of block, module, whatever you want to call it. Again, like I said, I'm not a developer. These are the things that I use and how I talk about building a website. But I will take them and put them directly into my podcast website so people can see, hey, other people have rated and reviewed this show. This is what they've got from it. This is why they enjoy it and why you should listen to it as well. And one other final bonus to add on to the other 4 things that you need to have on your podcast website is a place for people to subscribe. Now, this seems like it should be one of those like no-brainers, like, well, you should absolutely put that on there. But I have found that people are stubborn. People are super stubborn about where they listen to their show. So someone may already listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music, or all the other 50 places where someone would listen to a podcast, but I think it really does help to have those buttons there just in case someone is like, oh, I'm going to click that and it's going to automatically add it into their library of podcasts that they're looking forward to listening to. So that's my last little bonus tip. And that's all I have for you about talking about the 4 important things that you need to include on your podcast webpage. These are so important, y'all. Like, don't take this lightly. I think that the more traffic you get to your site, the more that your podcast continues to grow. You need to have strategy behind the ways that you're interacting with people on your website. So make sure that you go and watch the videos that we talked about here today. I'm going to link them in the video description below. And if this is your first time hanging out with us, make sure you hit that thumbs up if you found this video helpful. Subscribe below so you don't miss our future videos that we put out. Also, make sure to check out these other awesome videos here, all about podcasting and running your online business. Make sure you check out our free training in the video description below if you have not already. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere.